For as long as skateboarding has existed, people have been literally pushing skaters out of the places that they love to skate. Businesses will boot you in seconds, skate stop every possible curb imaginable, and you'll get tackled by mall security simply for rolling around on your skateboard. And if you dare spend months building a secret DIY spot, well, guess what? The city's gonna bulldoze it without any warning. There is literally nowhere left to skate without the risk of getting kicked out, except for skate parks. So you think that naturally, only skaters would be interested in going there, because seriously, who else gets literally bricked up looking at a well-built metal coping and some buttery smooth concrete? Well, it turns out the second you build a skate park, the entire population of children and adults that act like children that are in a 5-mile radius decide to go there and have fun by doing anything other than actually skateboarding. So that's why in this video, I'll be covering the top 10 people who ruined skate parks. Starting out first with Aaron Cairo. I'm going to get into this one a little bit more generally towards the end of the video, but I do have to give an honorable mention to probably the only guy in the world that literally ruined his own skate park and reputation because he spent all of his time and millions of dollars on a cult so he could learn about how intergalactic aliens and a warlord named Xenu flew billions of other aliens to Earth in spaceships that looked like DC-10 airplanes 75 million years ago, stacked them on volcanoes, and then nuked them with hydrogen bombs, and apparently those alien souls are now stuck to us, causing all of our problems. Which honestly explains why I can't land a kickflip, but doesn't explain why anyone would choose this over just skateboarding. The fall off is absolutely diabolical, and I'm glad it's been studied extensively. Up next is Suron Kids. Now I know literally all my recent videos are about Surons, if you can call it recent, and I can't deny I've contributed to this a little bit myself. But you know, the difference is that when I did it, the park was empty and I wasn't bothering anybody. But these Suron kids, you know which ones I'm talking about.
It's hard being a rich white kid
with a Suron in the suburbs.
My hair resembles an umbrella.
They'll go in there 4, 5, 6, 7 deep with their e-bikes their daddies bought them and proceed to snake every skater in the skate park. Hit jumps that are either minuscule or way too deep, ending in them absolutely eating it, or in the absolute worst case, hitting somebody else. And you know, as a Suron rider myself, I do need to give us a little bit of grace in this one, because there are some absolutely sick riders that can rip at the skate park and don't bother anyone or get in anyone's way, such as Talon Pemberton. He is an absolute beast in the Suron, and by far the best Suron skatepark rider I've ever seen. And to be fair to the Suron community, 99% of us do not want anything to do with skate parks, and on the off chance we do go there, most riders are very respectful of skaters and don't get in anyone's way. Kids on Surons, on the other hand, are a absolute wild card. You can never know what to expect with them.
He does? Yo, what? Wait. Taser on me, there's 4 cars. Yo!
Now to the original Suron kids, Scooter Kids.
That was legitness. Yeah.
This is pretty much who the Suron kids were before they had a Suron. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them because without a doubt, this is the most overused and overrated thing they could put in a video about things skaters hate. And honestly, skaters don't even really hate them anymore. Scooter kids have been hated for so long that they've kind of earned their place within skateboarding culture. And unless it's something personal or a skate park is specifically closed to scooters, you won't see skaters and scooter kids beefing because it's just not a thing anymore. But that still hasn't changed for what really causes all the issues of scooter kids and Suron kids at its core. And that is kids. Honestly, if us skaters had it our way, we would gladly send them over to that one island. You can have them all, Mr. Rich Guy, as long as it means we get to skate in peace, and a dozen brain-rotted, booger-eating iPad kids don't get released onto the skate park as soon as school gets out, or God forbid, we have a sunny weekend for once. See, scooters were never really the problem. It was the second part, kids, that always caused the problems. They constantly run around unpredictably, yet somehow predictably find a way each and every time you drop in to get directly in your way. It's like they have some kind of sixth sense for knowing exactly where you're going to be and managing to position themselves right there in the worst possible moment. And the thing is, it's not even malicious most of the time. They're just completely unaware. They don't understand how to read the park, they don't know how to look before they move, they definitely don't get the concept of waiting their turn or staying out of active lines. They will literally sit down on a rail that you're actively skating, they will treat bowls like it's some kind of playground, and turn quarter pipes into their personal slides. You can't predict what they're going to do next because even they don't know what they're going to do next. And just when you've had it with the kids ruining your session and you go to politely tell them to go somewhere else that's not directly in front of where you're trying to skate, you run into Satan himself, embodied as the helicopter parent, or put more simply, the Karen.
Please stop yelling at me.
People to move.
I'm not telling, I'm asking you politely.
Well, they're
and
saying
trying
no.
to explain.
They're saying no. They're saying no. You wait till these kids go home to sleep time.
Keep asking. This is a skate park. It's not a playground.
These kids have been here before you got here, so you go sit and wait till everybody leaves.
And Karens come in lots of different forms, different flavors of entitlement, different levels of aggression, but for the most part, they all have the same problem with you, and that is that you dared to tell their little hellspawn not to get in everybody's way. You've got the screamer Karen who immediately escalates into full volume the second you open your mouth. You've got the fake calm Karen who does that condescending thing where they talk to you like you're the child that needs to be educated about sharing and kindness. There's the phone out Karen who threatens to call the cops or starts recording you like you're some kind of criminal for asking a kid to move out of the landing zone. And then you've got the manager Karen who, instead of calling the manager, thinks that she is the manager of the skate park. It's actually crazy if you think about it, but you can avoid almost all the things in this video by not going to skate parks, but the one thing you can never avoid is a Karen. No matter where you go, as long as you're skateboarding, rest assured that Karens will always be out there, ready to call the cops, ready to fight you, and ready to be upset over your skateboarding.
Oh man, with the dog here? What's the dog doing? What's the dog doing? You scared my dog. That's what you did. Now get the out of here. I'm not kidding you. I am pissed.
This next one is a bit of a mix of an adult and a kid, and that would be the RC car guys. Now, in their defense, usually they're pretty cool about not doing it at a busy skate park, and they'll often wait to go on rainy days or off hours because thankfully most of them understand that skaters don't want cars flying at them at 60 miles per hour. Even if that car only weighs like 20 pounds, it's gonna do some damage. But the problem with these cars is that they're made out of tons of small nuts, bolts, and screws that inevitably break off after a good session of bashing around at the skate park. This loose hardware is the skater's worst enemy because when you ride over it, there's a solid chance that it locks up one of your wheels, causing a rock fart type effect. And trust me, nothing will kill your confidence faster than having your board suddenly stop rolling and you not be able to figure out why. Next is crackheads. Now in some areas this could be a very rare occurrence or just does not happen at all, and in others it happens all the time. But for some reason, skate parks are an absolute magnet for weird homeless people on all kinds of substances. Now, back in the day, I feel like this wasn't that big of a deal. You'd have old Joe that would come by smoking a joint and chill at the skate park sometimes. He would have some unhealthy habits for sure, but the skaters were cool with him because after all, there was a bit of similarity between the cultures. You know, skaters and homeless people got kicked out of the same spots, we weren't accepted by society, and we had to resort to hanging out in places where nobody would bother us. Oftentimes, the best street spots, the ones you wouldn't get kicked out of, were accompanied by homeless people. Like the iconic Hubba hideout, where the entire name of a skateboarding obstacle, the Hubba, was born. There was this mutual respect, this understanding that you were both just trying to exist in spaces that society didn't want you in. And those interactions were usually pretty chill. Maybe you'd share a beer, maybe you'd share some food, maybe a smoke, have a conversation, and everybody coexisted peacefully. But in recent times, it seems like the homeless people hanging around skate parks, and honestly just in general, have for the most part gotten flat out crazy, aggressive, and unpredictable. And with the substances floating around the streets today, it is just not a good vibe to have somebody tweaking out and hitting the fake steez emote where you're trying to enjoy your day. You don't know if they're gonna swing at you, try to steal your board, or just do something completely unhinged. That unpredictability causes tension at the park that makes it impossible just to relax and skate. Up next is gatekeepers. Now this is a tricky one because gatekeepers are somewhat good for the skateboarding culture.
I'm saying a real man wouldn't ride a wood banana with wheels. Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away from me.
They'll keep on wanting people out of the park like Suron kids and those tweakers that are just a little bit too crazy. And these skaters are typically the only ones that are brave enough and vocal enough to stand up against Karens.
Get off the campus!
Quit yelling at me! Ah! Ah! Oh no!
So don't get me wrong, gatekeepers are an essential key to a good skatepark environment, but this can also go too far to the point where they get too much of an ego and start going after other skaters that are typically just new to skateboarding. For new skaters, this can be pretty intimidating and lead to many of them leaving the skatepark or quitting skateboarding altogether. Now, although this does happen from time to time, overall it's pretty rare to see, and typically if other seasoned skaters see what's going on, they'll confront the gatekeepers and try to prevent it from happening in the future. But one thing that nobody can really prevent from ruining skateparks is the local government. From shutting down entire skateparks to enforcing weird rules that make no sense, or simply designing skateparks that suck and nobody wants to skate, the government is probably the most effective thing that can either create or completely ruin great skateparks. And let's not forget that one over-exaggerated illness season when cities were literally filling skateparks with sand to keep people out. Like actually dumping truckloads of sand into bowls and over obstacles in the name of public safety. Thankfully, skaters are a nifty bunch and they were able to clear it out pretty quickly. And then there's the design aspect, which might be even worse. Cities will allocate a budget for a new park, which sounds great on paper, but then they'll hire some contractor who has no idea what makes a good skate park. They'll throw together a bunch of random obstacles with no flow, terrible transitions, or features that are either way too mellow or completely unskateable. You'll end up with these Frankenstein skate parks that look good on paper in the city planning photos, but are absolutely useless for actual skating. The kicker is, once it's built, that's it. You're stuck with it for the next decade or longer because the city isn't going to admit they wasted taxpayer money on something nobody uses. So yeah, the government can kill a skate park faster than any group of kids or crackheads ever could. And unlike those other problems, there's pretty much nothing that you can do about it. And last but not least is undoubtedly YouTubers. These are the epitome of unwanted fake enthusiasm for no reason.
Why are you yelling?
They'll pull up to a skate park's cameras recording, jaws slack, hanging to the floor, and proceed to record themselves like they're the greatest skater in existence. They're yelling at the camera, over-exaggerating every littlest thing that happens, and treating the skate park like it's their personal film set, and everyone else is just a background extra for their content. Now, obviously, I'm being a little sarcastic. Not every YouTuber is like that, but you know the type I'm talking about. They'll set up their tripod right in the middle of the park, take over entire sections for their shots, and act like they own the place.
No way.
They're blocking lines, staying in landing zones with their equipment, and completely disrupting the natural flow of the session because they need to get that perfect angle for their thumbnail. YouTube skating was never accepted by core skateboarding audiences because 90% of skateboarding on YouTube was targeted to kids, and this is the epitome of the problem really. A perfect example of this is Aaron Cairo and Braille. The dude went from being somewhat liked and the biggest skateboarding channel on YouTube when he was doing those skate trick tutorials to basically destroying his own career by leaning so hard into the fake corporate content creator vibe that he lost all credibility with actual skaters within a couple of years. And there's also that whole Scientology thing that really put the nail in the coffin for him. At its core though, the whole channel and as a result all of YouTube skateboarding became more about churning out clickbait than actual genuine skateboarding. Everyone very quickly got tired of all the fake hype, everything being the most insane thing they've ever seen. Real skaters can tell a difference between a genuine stoke and someone who's just playing it up for views. And suddenly what should be a chill session turned into this weird spectacle where you're constantly aware that you might end up being in someone's video without ever agreeing to it. And obviously there are a few pretty core skateboarding YouTube channels. There seems to be a bit of a resurgence of them coming back now, but for a while it was pretty bleak. Anyway, I'm not pretending to be the most core skater to grace YouTube. In fact, I know I'm quite the opposite. I just hope that you had an entertaining video to watch and hopefully disagree with something enough to start an argument in the comment section. As for now, that's all I have. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.